Fiio M11 Plus. So today we're finally going to be talking about the Fiio M11 Plus, my favorite DAP ever. Now, quick disclaimer, I only own two DAPs. I own this one and the M3X by Shanling, and this one is my main testing rig. All the IEMs, every headphones, any audio equipment that comes in, I test on the Fiio M11 Plus, and we'll talk more about why that is when it gets to the sound breakdown. Before we begin this video, if you want to see the unboxing of the M11 Plus, I'll leave a link down below to my first impression video. You can see the unboxing and everything about that there. So in this video, we're mainly going to be focusing on reviewing this thing. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Hey friends, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio. And before I jump into anything specific, I have to say one thing, and that is I don't really use every single feature in a DAP. And for me, I'm not really a DAP aficionado in a way where I dig deep and try to manipulate all the little settings. The only thing I care about, or the only few things I care about when it comes to DAP is one, battery life. It needs to have good battery life. Two, the sound, of course. When it comes to testing IEM, I prefer a really clean, analytical sound to really not affect the IEM or color the IEM in any given way. And third of all, the build. I care about it being built well, the button placement being good. The UI needs to be a really smooth UI because I want that smooth user experience. I don't like anything glitchy. I don't like anything that makes it feel like the device was made back in like 2008. But yeah, this thing now, let's talk about every little aspect that I just mentioned. So first of all, the build. The build on this is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I don't think I need to convince you otherwise. You can just look at what I'm showing you right now. It is probably one of the most gorgeous looking devices I've ever held in my entire life. And I've owned quite a few beautiful looking devices in my life, you know, phone, cameras, and all that. This by far is the most beautiful and well-constructed design that I've ever come across in any electrical device that I've ever owned. I mean, the back just looks stunning. Anything from just the weight of this thing feels heavy. It feels like a brick. It feels really premium. Really solid design. The placement of the buttons also nice as well. So as you can see up here, we have the power button, and down here we have the volume control. And this is also a touch volume control, so you can actually slide up and slide down to lower or increase your volume. You can turn that feature on and off as well. And you can also manually click it, which is really nice. So two options there. I have mine personally turned off because I'm extremely clumsy and I keep accidentally rubbing against it. But for those of you who are not as clumsy as me, you can leave that feature on. It's actually very helpful. And below the volume control, I believe that is a programmable button. I've never really used it, so we're gonna gloss over that real quick to the other side here. The other side, you can see here we have the forward, backward, and a play pause button down here. And below that, you see a little hold switch. So if you flip that down, you're not gonna be able to interact with the device at all. It is completely locked, and this is helpful for when you don't want to accidentally have, your pocket change the song on you. It rubs up against anything in your pocket and the volume goes up and down. Whatever the case may be, you just flip that switch and no longer can anything interact with the device as long as that is remain switch on. Now looking at the bottom section, we have everything here. We have the 4.4, we have the 2.5 and the 3.5 and the charging port. If you're listening to IEM mainly, this is everything you need, and that is fantastic. So whatever IEM you buy, whatever cable you buy, you have just all the options to play around with. You don't have to ever worry about ordering the wrong cables with the wrong termination. Just whatever comes in, you can plug into this and play it. Now on to the power output and battery life. What can this thing run? This thing can push pretty much any IEM on the market. I've pushed planar IEMs with this. It works perfectly fine. The Tin P1, which is notorious for needing a lot of power to push, this thing pushes just fine. When it comes to headphones, I've pushed a 300 ohm HD 800S off of these as well, and it pushes that really good. In terms of what this thing probably can't push, it's anything that is 600 ohms and above. Now, these might struggle in that department, but anything that's 300 ohms and below should be completely fine, and that includes every IEM that you're ever gonna come across. These will push those. In terms of battery life, this thing lasts around 9 to 11 hours, and that is okay. That is good. It's not my most favorite battery life ever. Of course, my favorite one being in the M3X. That one lasts around 15, 16 to sometimes even 19 hours long. That DAB is amazing, and I use that one daily for casual listening just because of the battery life. With this, 9 to 11 hours, that's fine. That's okay. It's not uber impressive, but it's fine. It's workable. I find myself having to charge this thing quite often, but the saving grace is that this does have fast charging, so within 1 or 2 hours of charge, this should be at a level where it will take you for the rest of the day. So yeah, battery-wise, it's all right. Not the most impressive thing, but it's all right. Now onto the UI and also some features that's worth noting on this device. Not all features. If you want a list of all the features, I'll leave every information you need down in the description below. If you want a full list of everything, a full breakdown of everything, I'm just gonna touch upon some highlights that I actually use and the overall feeling of the UI. So the UI itself is rather smooth. Actually, one of the better UI that I've come across in DABs or in Sci-Fi devices in general. Now onto the features, we have of course Bluetooth connectivity. We have 3 levels of gain: low, medium, and high gain, which is quite nice and different because you're normally seeing low and high, but this is low, medium, high. That's pretty neat. And we also have a lot of different modes as well. First mode being Android mode, that's the default mode. We have the pure music mode, which switches you to only the Fiio music app. We have the USB DAC mode, so yes, you can use this as your USB DAC for your computer or for your other devices. We also have Bluetooth receiver mode, of course. Lastly, and most important thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is the sound. How does this thing sound? Is it good for testing IEM? Is it good enough to be your endgame DAB that you never have to buy anything else ever again in your whole entire life? And that's my philosophy, by the way, with DAB. Don't buy multiple DABs. You don't need 6, 7 DABs. You don't need to keep constantly switching DABs. Just invest into a really good one. Trust me on this one, save up some money and invest into a really, really good DAB. Because in all honesty, if you have a decent to good or above quality DAB, it's gonna sound just about the same on any IEM. It's really not gonna affect the sound all too much. What is gonna affect the sound a lot is if you buy a different IEM, and that's where you should spend your money, is on buying multiple IEMs or having an IEM collection as opposed to having a DAB collection or buying multiple DABs. It's just a waste of money that way. So I highly encourage you guys to save up to buy a DAB. And this one right here, the M11 Plus, is actually a really, really good choice. This one, the sound quality is so clean. It's clean, it's analytical. Noise floor, what noise? There's barely any noise with these, which is really, really good for testing music because you don't want to hear those little noises, of course, that's annoying. So these have very little noise floor. The sound is also extremely clean, very analytical. Just for comparison, I have the Schiit's Magnius and Modius stack here for my desktop, and these have more details than the stack. So there you go. Again, if you want to test your IEM or you want to hear what the IEM actually sound like in the most clearest form, this is the DAB to do that. And to be honest with you guys, as I'm sitting here right now, I don't think I'll ever buy another DAB again. Like honestly, I don't think I'll ever need to buy another DAB again. I plan on using this for a very, 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 very long time. I don't foresee myself needing anything that is better than this because this has everything I want. The battery life is okay, it's decent, it has all the features that I want. The sound quality out of these are superb and the build quality is insanely pretty. It's almost a shame that I have to put a leather case on it because the leather case here is honestly, it's okay. It's not the prettiest leather case out there. I have to put it on for protection, of course, but it's a shame that I have to put this over something so beautiful. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the review of this Fiio M11 Plus. If you want more details, you want more of the feature breakdowns, all the little knickknacks for those of you DAB aficionados who love those little detail stuff, I'll leave all the information in the description below. But for those of you who are just looking for a DAP that has really good sound, good battery life, good UI, smooth user experience, and overall good features, plus all the options you need, all the termination plugins that you need, this thing just has everything. And throughout the months that I've been using this, 2 months now, no complaints whatsoever. I love this DAP a lot. All right, guys, that is it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll leave a link to the M11 Plus down in the description below. I know they're in very, very, very limited supply. I think is the problem with, you know, COVID and, you know, sourcing all the materials and stuff like that. But hey, when this is gone, who knows when it's ever gonna be in stock again. I was informed that there's really only a few units left in every store that carries it. So I'll leave a link to one of the stores that I buy from down below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Buy a DAP, buy a really good DAP. Remember that, guys, save up and buy a good DAP. Call it a day, spend your money on more IEMs. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.